Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Manshed. Okay, this review is on a garden strimmer. So it's a Parkside one, so Lidl's own make. Got it this week, and here it is. I'll be going into great detail on it very, very shortly. First of all, I'll just show you the one I already have. Now, I've had this. It must be 20 years. No exaggeration there. I've been in the house 30 odd years, so probably even more than that, and it's been great. The thing I like on this more than the Parkside one is how to extend the pole. You just press a button there and you pull it to various positions there. On the Parkside, as you'll see in a minute, you've got to twist it. That's the only difference, but it hasn't got an adjustable head. You can't do the angle of the head on this. The line thing, it was okay when it was new, but for a while now it's been a bit iffy how much it puts out. As you can see, it's only got a tiny bit out. It should be out to like here, and you're supposed to sort of like tap it or it flies it out automatically, but for a while now it hasn't really. I've tried new reels and everything. There's no cutter, not cable cutter, but line cutter, filament cutter on the side like there is on the Parkside. I'll go into details on that. There's no wheel on it for doing edging, although with my lawn I'm not too bothered about that. But it's proved very, very reliable. It's never broke down. As you can see, it's a corded one, so that's an advantage again with the Parkside. There's no wire in the way. It's much, much heavier, and again, the handle that you hold there isn't adjustable, it's just fixed. So that's just to give you an idea on the existing one. The new one, first of all, I'll show you the box. Obviously can't show you it all in one shot, but I'll zoom in on these bits. Expandable by approximately 24 centimetres, cutting diameter 25 centimetres, filament length spool 2 by 5 metres. So there's like 2 strands come out, as with most. Some strimmers did just have the one. This and the one I've just shown you have 2, and the filament line thickness 1.4mm. It's a bare unit, as with most Lidl's electrical tools now, because if you're like me, you've got, well, at least if you've got just 1 or 2, I've got a hell of a lot more than that. So I've got the batteries, I've got the chargers, so it makes sense to buy the bare unit. And it's 25 quid just for this bare unit. So you need to source your own battery and charger. I'll show you the batteries in a minute. So that's a picture of it. It shows their battery and charger not included. And it uses their 20 volt range of batteries. You get 2 spools. One is in the machine, one is in the handle. Again, I'll show you in detail later. 5 cutting angles. It's got a protective cover with filament line fold out plant and flower guard. The wire bit you see there at the front. Obviously you've got your main shield there and your multi-position handle there. That's about everything you need to know on the box. 3-year warranty, as always with all Lidl's tools. I'll quickly take freeze frames of the instruction book. Again, I won't go through every single page because most of it is just safety-wise, wear protective stuff and all that. But I'll show you any bits that are relevant, particularly if you've got one and maybe lost the book and you need to know. So whiz through this bit, fast forward this bit if it's of no interest to you. But so I'll take a freeze frame of each of these. So as with all Parkside stuff from Lidl's, the inside diagrams there are on the front page. You fold it outwards, and that allows you to view the diagrams while you're reading about what they're pertaining to. And as you can see, it goes from A to figure F1 on this. If when you're reading the book, there's a figure there like F2 and not onwards, and you're wondering where that is, it's always on the end page. So go to the very end of the book and fold that page out as well, as you can see here. So as you can see, it picks it up at diagram F2 and then F3, so on, and G and H at the bottom. The bit on the left, don't know why they're showing that. It's just showing you the voltage of a full battery and a dud battery. A bit pointless, really, that bit. So just some technical info, mainly on the batteries, the 2 amp battery and the 4 amp battery. They're the only two I was aware of, but there is one more, as we'll see shortly. Yeah, and then noise emission values. Oh, God. Everything has got to be documented now, any vibration, noise, the lot. And more battery info, but there at the bottom on that table, you can see one, the PAPS208A1, 8 amp, 10 cell 8 amps. So, yeah, I've never seen one of them ever in Lidl's, maybe a special order, but yeah, it'll be a fair old brick, 8 amp cell, but would cut a heck of a lot of grass with that. And a table there showing the charging times of various batteries they do with various chargers they do. And this one, double page there, showing the various angles and going on about the just in the height and the cutting angle and handle rod and so on and so forth. And finally, the obligatory troubleshooting. Okay, so that's the instructions. And what comes in the box is the main unit itself, obviously. The head on this is, you can set 5 different angles. You're pressing, oh, was it round? You're pressing this red button here. And as you can see, you can set it at anything from there down to there. You've got this guard, call it the flower guard. So obviously to protect any sort of like things that you don't want cutting, you just spring them out. It's hard to do one-handed, but like that, and then that clips down into that position there, and that's behind the length of the string, whatever you call it. Again, I have no flowers to protect, so mine will just be popped up there all the time. To adjust the height of it, or for storage, you loosen that off. Like I say, on the Black & Decker one, you press a button and push it in. You've got to loosen that. You push it down, and you spring it up. It's on like tends to go down on its own, so a full adjustment, hold it out, and you screw that on like that. This button here, you push in to twist it 180 degrees. You do that for when you're using the guide wheel, which I'll be showing you shortly, for going along doing the edge of a lawn. So you push the button in, and so the whole thing twists and you feel it lock. You've got your trigger here. I'll just put it at its smallest, make it more convenient to show you. You got your trigger here, and again, the safety thing, you've got to push a button in there before you can pull the trigger, and the handle fixes there. So what comes in the box is that, the guard, the handle, and it's got a spare reel of filament on it, the rod for the handle, and the guide wheel for running along on the ground when you're doing edging. So I'll show you that. So they're the only bits you get, and 4 little screws to attach the guard. Again, I'll be showing you shortly how this goes. That comes off and you can change the filaments. So to put it together, dead easy. The handle goes on the front, so there, with the filament upwards. So you put that, line it up, and as you can see, you've got all these little ribs here, so you've got multi-position. So you put that on there, you push this rod through till it engages in the other side, and then it gets sort of stiffer to turn, And you can have the angle anywhere from right down there. All these little increments, and all you can hear them clicks right up to here. So that's one good thing about it over the Black & Decker one. Tighten the handle up there, and that is now absolutely solid. Like I say, you've got your spare reel there, which leaves you with just two parts: the guard and the guide wheel. That bracket is metal and the wheel is plastic. You put this on first before the guard. I'm going to show you in close-up shortly, overhead shot, because I've had it together and disassembled it to show you this bit. That goes over there like that. So I'll show you. And as I emphasise in that, those two drilled out holes don't actually align with any screws. So don't think those two there are to go in there, because they're a different. Them two go in the little cutouts there, and you just push that in. It sort of like semi holds it in place till we've got the guard on. As you can see, pushes in like that. It will still easily fall out. So place that in there, and then the guard, you've got the two holes there near together at the top, and the ones further apart there. The further apart ones go at the back. So you've got to put these, you've got to make sure these little stubs go inside them slots there. So offer it up over the filament, and it's just a matter of pushing it in there like that. You saw the little guide wheel fall out then, so I'll just get that. So yeah, when you're doing it yourself, you're not trying to hold it up to the camera, you won't make that mistake. In the book it says put this on, then that. You can actually put the guard on first and then slide that in later. So slide that in there like that, and then you tighten all the screws up. Once them screws are put in, 4 screws that come with it, one there, one there, one there, and one there. That holds that really, really tight. You cannot pull that out like that. So let's just have a look at it now from overhead, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So the first thing, as I said before, to assemble is this wheel, the guide wheel for edge cutting. And that goes in a slot. That slot I showed you head on before. It's just above this plastic bit here with the 2 lugs. Now, what confused me is, you see these 2 holes here? I thought, oh, they might line up with these 2 holes here, these 2. But as you can see, they're way apart, and they don't. So they mean nothing really, them holes. So it inserts there with this wide bit going between them 2 holes. And as you push it in, it like clicks a bit. You won't hear it, but there's a bit of a click there, and it sort of like holds it in place. It doesn't hold it very firmly. Look, it pulls out dead easy. So you think, well, how's that going to get held in? But when we put the next bit on, you will see it holds it really, really tough. So that's the guide wheel in place, just pushed in there. Like I said, these 2 holes, I don't know what they're for. They must be manufacturing holes or something. But there's no screws or anything go through them. So with that wheel pushed in, you then get this guard, and as you can see, you've got two holes close together, 2 holes far apart. The far apart holes go at the back here, and they're the 2 holes that goes in. So you position this way around, guide it over the strings. That just pushes down over the stubs like that. Make sure that front wheel is pushed in. Put these 4 screws in. Got to line this up sometimes and make sure the hole goes over the stub. We won't be able to start the screw. And once you've got all them 4 screws in, this wheel then is tight. I'm pulling with all my strength there and I cannot pull it out. So that is being gripped in there tightly and it's free to turn. You can see, so I'll show you this at a better angle close up soon. Here is the cutter. So as the nylon comes round, if it's longer than that, that will cut it to the required length. Now the spool inside, you just squeeze to remove this top cover bit. You squeeze these 2 tabs in. Again, I'll show you them sideways in a bit, and this top bit comes off. So you just pull that up like that. And under there you can see the spool and you can see the arrows on it, which way around it goes. So when you're replacing the spool, you pop it in there with these arrows facing upwards and you guide the 2 cutting strings through the 2 ones there. Well, this one here is coming from the top of the reel, and this one through this hole is from the bottom of the reel. Again, I'll show you the reel close up in a bit so you can see it from the side and see what I mean. And then this just squeezes together. When you're squeezing them side tabs, it just squeezes them 2 bits and releases it from there. If you want to pull the cable out, the button you press is here. It's a bit hard to see from this angle, but there's a button just under here. Again, I'll show you from the side later. But as you press that, you'll see you can pull. It releases like the ratchet on it. Each time you press it, you can pull a bit more out. You can keep doing that. The same the other side. Press it and you can pull that out. You can pull it out past the cutter. It's now too long, and as it whizzes round, that will cut it off to the right length. So like I said, that button is there. You can just see it there. As you press that in, so it releases the ratchet underneath. That allows you to pull that spool out. So if the cable's gone really tight, or when you're putting a new spool on and you just push it through, keep clicking that while pulling it out to the right length. So well, that makes it a bit clearer seeing it from the bottom. And once you've got them out, you just push that back in. And click it down. So that's it all screwed together, and like I say, you cannot pull that out there now. That is absolutely solid. So that's how it is now. Like I said, the filament comes out this far, and there is a little cutting blade here, which the Black & Decker one I have hasn't got. So, like I say, if the line is too far, as it comes round, it goes against that cutting blade. You don't have to cut it manually like this. As it flies round on the thing, it will chop it off to the right length. You'll hear that when I start it up, you'll hear it sort of rattling with the filament touching that, and then suddenly it cuts through and goes dead quiet. So that's a good point on this. And like I say, to take the top off the filament drum to swap it when it runs out, you squeeze them 2 buttons in there, and this top, just the top, not the whole thing, this top comes off. So again, easy to do if you're not doing it to a camera. But you just squeeze them in, pull that up. You can see that just goes in there like that. And that is your drum. Again, you saw it close up on the assembly, but on the overhead shot. But the top bit of the wire here, that is connected to the bottom bit of the spool, and this comes out that hole there. So I'll take this out just to show you what it does. So you just remove, when it's time to swap it, when it's run out of filament, just remove the whole thing like that. I won't take it all out, but as you can see on the bottom, you've got your little ratchet type things there, your teeth. So you would put it on like that. The bottom part of the spool there, pull through one of the holes, and the top part of the spool there, again hard to show you from the camera, but through the other spool, and then without trying to get them tangled. So once you've got the filament through the two holes and the spool on, you push it down, obviously with the ratchet bit on the bottom, and you push it right down till it clicks. And then just check that the ratchet is engaging. You can tell. This is a spare one off the handle, and you can see there a bit better the lips, the little teeth on the two ratchets, inner and outer, that go around. So make sure that is pushed down fully and engaging in that. When you get, like I said, this spool with it, I'm going to try and get some spares when I go shopping this weekend at Lidl's, and if I get some, I'll add them to this video. But you can get these ready wound on the spool, I would imagine, like you could with the Black & Decker. You can also buy the filament and wind them yourself. To wind them yourself, you will just push, there'll be a little hole in here, in the empty thing. You'll push the filament through, you'll wind it round in the direction of the arrows, that's important. And you just wind it round till it's like that, and you can keep it, store it in that little hole there. There's a little lip that you just lip it round to keep it in situ. And that's your spare, and that goes on the handle there. Again, just press it down. So, like I say, make sure it is fully down, and the ratchet is operating. If you hold this out a bit to stop the whole thing rotating and do that, you should feel it like locking up. Once you've done that, pop the cover back on. Make sure it goes fully down. Obviously, if it doesn't go fully down, you haven't pushed the reel down far enough. And like I said, them filaments, as you see, are much wider. Oops. Than the cutting blade, but when that starts whizzing round, the cutting blade will cut them off at exactly the right length. So you'll probably hear it more accurately when I'm cutting it, because I'll have me sort of mobile mic. This tries to eliminate background noise, so you may not hear it actually sort of cutting the filament, but I'm just going to try it now in the shed. So I'm going to end up with 2 bits of filament flying up. I've got my glasses on, so it'll be all right. But as you see now, they are much, much longer than the guard. You've got your cutting blade up here. So when I fire it up now, you shall hopefully hear it rattling around as the filament touches that cutting blade. But then eventually it'll whiz through it and it'll go a lot quieter, and I'll show you. These should have then had about a couple of inches cut off them. So let's try that now. So hopefully you heard that okay. And as you can see, it rattled that man till it had whizzed it against the thing. And then now it is the exact length of that cutting blade there. So that is a good point on this. So that's everything you get in the box. I think I've gone through everything now. The adjustable angle, the attachment of this and the wheel, the little guard that comes down to protect your flowers. This you push in to twist it 180 for edging. Undo that, pull it in and out to the desired height, adjust your angle with that. Your batteries, it's designed for this, the standard 20 volt team batteries. That is a 2 amp one. That will do ample for me. I've only got a tiny little front lawn, and it's just the edgings I do. Where the flowers were once is now just grass. I've planted grass seeds, and the lawnmower can't get right up to the wall and round the posts. That's what I'll be using it for. So a 2 amp one will do fine for me. There's also the 4 amp one. So obviously it would last twice as long, the 4 amp one. Okay, so all that remains now is for me to actually do some grass cutting with it. Yesterday was a beautiful day. 6:30 at night, I walked to the pub quiz. Took me an hour and a half to get there, and it was glorious. 4-mile walk. I just had a t-shirt like this on. It was fantastic. I'll just show it you now. This is live now. I'll swing the camera around. So that's it now. But yeah, that's how it is at the moment. So as soon as the garden's dried out and the grass is growing a bit more in a couple of days, I'll film the outside bits and we'll show you in action. Right, well, it's 3 days later now. It's Friday now, and I've just tried it out on the grass. I was hoping for a 3-day dry period, but that's far too much to wish for in the UK at the moment. So it's about as dry as it's going to get without me waiting weeks and weeks. So bear that in mind when you're looking at it cut. It is still a bit damp, the grass. Also, apologies for this next bit. I didn't know what a wazzock I would look in this clip. I've got my shorts on, and I've got this hat on. I bought this hat to do, as I mentioned in this, years ago to film what I had in plan. Let me know in the comments if you still want that doing, but it's on hold for now. A bike ride on my electric bike between Thornton Clevelers and Fleetwood, showing you all the multitude of attractions between Thornton Clevelers and Fleetwood. That was something I had planned, but I've used it for filming the sort of like the downward action shots with my Osmo of the Strimmer in action. So, like I said, let's have a look at that now. You notice I've had my hair cut as well. My daughter came round the other day. So, I've worn the same t-shirt for continuity. Anyway, let's get into the action shots of it now. First of all, just cutting the grass round the edge of the lawn. Okay, so I'm going to film this bit. I'm sorry I'll have my back to you during the filming, but we'll try and zoom in a bit. But if you look on the camera how high the grass is up to here, up to this like concrete base plate, you might get an idea. Also gives me an excuse to use my cap for the first time with me Osmo mounted on this, so I'll use it to film down at the Strimmer in action and maybe zoom in on that. So hopefully you'll get an idea. So like I say, if you take a look along here now how high the grass is there, and let's get going. So as you can see, hopefully you can hear me alright. It gets round the concrete posts okay. So I've done from about here. It's still a bit long here, as you can see. So.
Okay, hopefully you can see. Well, it's still showing up the thing here, but most of it is cooked. Yeah, the green you can see there is the staining of the grass on the concrete. So let's try some edging now.
So as you saw there, you know, pretty effective. Everything seems to be working okay. This next bit I'm going to show you is using the edging. Actually, like I showed you before, you can twist it round on the handle here and have it vertical using this guide wheel to roll it along and cut vertical. Now, the main sort of like use for that is if you've got a proper like flowered, where your lawn ends and you've got your thickness of your turf like that, and then it dips down into, say, a flower border where it's just soil. Well, I haven't got any of that. My lawn now goes right to the brick walls. So I've just tried to demonstrate it on the edge, but the concrete joins it flush, so it's not showing it how it would actually be used. But as you'll see in this, you do see like a tram line it cuts in the lawn, so it shows you how effective just a nylon sort of filament can be at cutting like a straight edge. So let's have a look at that now.
Okay, well, as you can see, I haven't really got much of an edge, so I'm just gonna twist this round till it's that way, and just the angle. As you can probably see now, it's pretty vertical, but I'm going to go along here, but like I say, it's not much of an edge on my lawn. But you can hopefully see the groove there that it has cut, so if you did have an edge, see, it would be quite effective at cutting that. Again, along here. You can see it's doing that, and as you can probably see, hopefully on here, I just heard it then come out a bit, so it did thread a bit more out, so it's still in line with the cutting edge there.
Now, one last thing I wanted to show you while I had the wireless DJI mic on was the clattering noise it makes as the filament comes up against the cutting blade. As I showed you earlier in the video, you can click it and pull out the filament, although it comes out on its own centrifugally. But if it comes out too far, as it goes past the little tiny blade, it cuts it off the right length. So if you hear a rattling noise, you know it hasn't cut it. As soon as it's cut through, it goes dead quiet. Now, I showed it in the demo, sat here at the bench, but this microphone, the way I have it set up, is for noise cancelling. I'll just show you what I mean. It's now to do with the review of the Strimmer, but if I jingle these keys now, this is with the noise cancelling on. Or even tap this can of Coke. You probably won't hear much noise, but if I now record without noise cancellation. So this is the noise cancellation turned off now, and you'll hear the keys hopefully a heck of a lot more, and possibly that a lot more. So I'll just turn it back on again. So I filmed this outside, and you will definitely hear the difference now. It's handy to know that if it is a noise you hear while you're using it, it's just before it cuts through. So let's have a look now. Right, so I just want to show you here the effectiveness
of the cutter. So I'm going to pull these pieces of filament out using the ratchet thing, get them longer, then I'll turn it on, and you should be able to hear this time. I did it inside on the demo while I was sat at inside the shed, but because of the noise cancelling mic there, you wouldn't really have been able to hear it. This mic should pick it up a bit better, so I'll just stand up for this bit, and I'm going to press this button here, and that'll allow me to pull out the cable. So each time you push it in, the ratchet moves a little bit, so you can see it's much longer now. It's coming out further than this actual guard. I'll do the same on this one. Whoops. So you can see the filament here is way past the blade. So when we turn it on now, you'll hear it clattering as it whacks against the cutting blade, each one, and then it'll suddenly go quiet. So we'll just clear that grass out there. So hopefully, I'm going to put my mic right on the table, and we should hear it clattering like mad and then going suddenly quiet. Here it goes. So there, you heard it immediately, then clattering like mad, but it's only for a second or so until it cuts the things. And if you look now, that is exactly the right length. So yeah, that's worked pretty well, and it's, as you can hear, it's really, really quiet now. Still a bit whacking, do it a bit more. As it sort of slows down, it hits the top bit. Yeah, that's smooth, it's not cutting against it. So you can see it's definitely exactly the length there and there of the cutting blade.
So there you have it. I think I've shown you everything I can do. Yeah, it seems fine to that. It definitely cuts better than my Black & Decker one, but again, that is 20 years old or so, but and doesn't put out the same amount of filament that it should do. But I do like the features that you can have this in a position that suits you. I like the twist roundable to give the edging if you so need it. I do like the way you can click the drum and pull the filament out, which you couldn't on the Black & Decker one. And so far, it seems to work great. As I've said, on my size border, 2 amp will last way, way, way too long. The small 2 amp battery, that keeps it nice and light. But if you're out and about and you've got a lot to do, might be worth using the 4 amp or, as I mentioned, that 8 amp, which I've never seen in real life in a store. And it'll be quite a pricey item, but that'd do you all day, I would imagine. So, yeah, it seems a good buy for 25 quid for the features you get. So hopefully this has been of some use. If it has, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, it would be fantastic if you could. Please click the little picture here of the shed. And once you've done that, click the little bell icon and you'll be alerted to any uploads as soon as I've done them. Things in the pipeline, unless I've uploaded them before this, are a cordless ratchet driver from Lidl's and a torque wrench I use as part of the demo of that. So they are at least 2 to come, and I will continue to keep buying stuff, I'm sure, from Lidl's and Amazon and various other places. So hopefully I'll catch you for one of them. Don't forget, that shed picture should now have arrived. Click on that to subscribe. Thanks for watching this. Catch you for the next one. Bye for now.